So now let's look at past records in a batch file submission. Posting your past records is essential to completing the submission process. In this module, we will view records, examine key elements, and demonstrate how to post past records. So from the View Submission Status screen, this is where you can see the different file statuses for a submission. As you submit an initial file and go through several iterations of error correction, you will eventually have a file that has 0 rejected records. So let's look at a file that has such 0 rejected records. So as you can see, there are no errors in the error summary. There's nothing to resolve. So if I go to the View Postpass Records tab, I can see that I have a post all here. If I want to see individual schools, I would have them listed below. I can post or exclude the records of each school individually if I so choose. If I want to post all the past records in the file, I would simply click Post All. We have key elements in the file. And then we have past records. And here's a summary of the past records. They're listed in groups of 10. This had 20 past records, so you can see the 10 records on each page. If I wanted to look for a specific student, I could search by SSID or by local ID. As you see, there is no execute button. You just simply click enter, make sure that you have no spaces. Once I deleted the space, I clicked outside the search function and it's executing that search now. And you can see a specific record for that student is available. All right, so if I wanted to look at past record in detail, I simply click open and I can see the record details. Every field in the record is presented to me. And this is where you can look at key elements and look for parent guardian highest education level, or this being a student information file, the ethnicity and race, perhaps the birth date or gender. So we close that, all right? Now, being that I've completed my submission, I can click Post All. Prior to doing this though, I want to talk about another method, all right? You don't have to wait until you have submitted a file with 20 past records or 100% past records, okay? You can post a file even if there's only one past record. That single record will post to the CalPEDS ODS. The rejected records do not and will never post to the ODS. You go back to your student information system, you update those records. If you submit another file and it has the same 20 records, there is no negative effect of submitting the data again for that one posted record. And so to show you an example of this, I'm going to go to the View Submission screen again. And just for the sake of this demonstration, let me filter for only student information records that I've submitted. All right. And I'll start by posting this initial demo file. So I've previously submitted this file. There were 3 rejected records. I had 4 errors. So I only have 17 records that I could possibly post. There was 10 on the first page, and you'll see there's only 7 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So I have 17 records, and I will just post all. At the top, you can see CalPEDS is thinking. The status is now in post requested. That's telling me that I'm trying to post records. So let's go back to view submission status. So we can see that that initial submission is in post requested. Okay. So we just refreshed the screen. And we can see that the file has gone to posted. Now, this was extremely quick for two reasons. One, I'm in the test environment, there's no traffic. The second is this was a small file, okay? So I've posted 17 student information records, okay? Now, I resolve these three errors. I've already done it. You can see the subsequent submissions that I eventually have one with 0 errors. Now, open view. And those 17 records that I previously posted are in this file as well. And I can verify that because I can go down and see the same names. And there's no harm, right, of submitting a record multiple times. As long as the information doesn't change and create discrepancies, you can submit the records for these students. So I'm going to post this new file, which will include the 3 rejected records, as well as the 17 previously posted records and past records. And so while CalPads is thinking about this, let's go upload the exact same file. Just for redundancy's sake, just to prove a point. Student information, choose file, student information, open, and upload. So we're uploading a new file. We've submitted it several times. We've made corrections and changes to that file. This last submission is the exact same. I have made no changes. 20 records that have passed. It's in post requested stage. Now my submission, to see it, I'm gonna hit F5. It should say in queue or in processing. So here we can see that it's in queue. And so we're just gonna wait a little while. So we can see all 20 records posted, and they did not conflict with previously posting the first 17. The 3 rejected records that I subsequently resolved in submissions of the same file type, student information, and then again, because I resolved one rejected record, I focused on the last rejected record, then I posted the file. So that's how you resolve your errors in several iterations of file uploads. You can post the past records of each submission, or you can choose to wait until you have a submission that represents 0 rejected records. But the best way to ensure all the data from your student information system is coming cleanly into CalPads is to keep posting records until you have 0 rejected. If I have 20 students, and I can see that each student has a student information record and none were rejected from CalPads. Rejected records do not post to CalPads, will never post to CalPads. So let's see if this file status has changed for ready and review yet. So here it is, it's ready to review. This previous file is posted. I'm going to click view, and I'm going to post this file one last time just to reiterate, posting records that are already in CalPad causes no harm. And so CalPads is designed to allow you multiple uploads to mass edit student data. Data that's consistent with the records in CalPads will not trigger errors just because it's been submitted before. And this allows you a method to ensure that everything in your student information system that needs updating or submitting can come into CalPads. You can look at the number of total records, compare that to your past and rejected records, and work your way to a submission where you have 0 rejected records, and you know that all the student data has come from your student information system into CalPads. So you can see that we've graduated to post requested, no errors. These 2 files are completely duplicative of each other. I have changed no data whatsoever. You can see that nearly 50 minutes has passed, almost an hour between submissions, no ill effects. And so while we wait for this post requested status to change to posted, which it did, so no longer waiting, and we can go back and look at the past records again. It says posted. You can spot check, right? Copy a SSID. I'm going to go to a new tab. Once the new tab is ready, I will search for the student. And I was submitting student information, so that's going to be demographics and address. And I can confirm whether or not that information is in the CalPADS ODS. I see that the student has a student information or demographic record effective 8/20/2020. Same here. Sean Green egg rolls. And so I could compare the data in CalPADS to the submission. If I don't see everything here that I want to look at, I can open the record in detail, look at the parent's name, Saffron Cabbage, so I can see that information is in the CalPADS ODS. You can also compare what's in the CalPADS ODS to your student information system. So last but not least, let's go back to view submission. We've posted all our records. If I want to, I can clean up what I see here in my results. I can archive files that have no more processing left. These files are processed and posted, so I can archive them. Let's archive, and you can see archive requested. Okay, so I've archived those. And then perhaps these that are in different statuses, I don't want to post them. And I want to clean up my submission screen. I go to past records. Remember, there's nothing that I can do with rejected records, right? Nothing at all. They're not going to write to CalPADS. It just provides me information so I can make changes in my student information system to resolve the errors. Now, instead of posting all, I can choose to exclude. So submission number 3.xls has been excluded. Exclude request successful. So let's go back to the submission status screen. So you can see that submission 3.xls has been excluded. Let's do number 2 as well. Let's exclude this file as well. View past records. I'm going to click the checkbox that says display individual poster exclude buttons. I'm going to exclude. And remember, if there's multiple schools, to exclude the entire file, you'd have to exclude each school. Let's go back to the view submission screen. And so we've excluded these files. And so I don't have to worry about accidentally going in and posting those files or the records. They've been excluded. There's nothing more that can be done with them. If you want to find your archive files, you can go here, or your current files. The excluded records will be removed according to the retention policy, but that's about it. There's nothing more to posting past records. Hopefully you understand the relationship or the methodology between resolving errors and posting past records, and you do what suits you and your organization best. And so when you post a file, it goes from posted, right, to revision in progress. We talked about this in a different module when we talked about the file statuses, okay? When it's in revision in progress, the data within that file is being applied to a particular snapshot. The available in column will tell you which snapshot that's going to be applied to. So you can see this submission is applied to fall 1. It's actually in revision complete status, meaning these 13 past records are available on the snapshot reports. This information is not only in the CalPADS ODS, it's included on the snapshot reports. The 18 rejected records, even though the file has revision complete, a revision date, timestamp, and available in, rejected records do not post to CalPads and therefore cannot be applied to snapshot reports. If you're ever missing student data and you think you've completed your file submission, look at your submission status to see if there are any unresolved rejected records. If you find any, examine the rejected records that we demonstrated or how we demonstrated it, make those corrections in your student information system, then resubmit that same file. When you have 0 rejected records, or you can use an iterative process of posting several different versions of that file. But when you have submitted all records and they've passed and posted, you can then wait for revision complete and verify in your reports that all the student data is contained within. Okay, so hopefully that completes the rejected records and the past records process. You can view both different modules because it's kind of simultaneous and it goes hand in hand. And remember, your submission process is completed when you've submitted all the file types for submission, whether it be Fall 1, Fall 2, end of year 1, 2, 3, or 4.